Hey. Okay, so I have admittedly not been super present here, and to be honest, the reason for the title for this video is kind of why. Life has been crazy recently. My father had a stroke, and so I've been dealing with a lot of overwhelm because my mom was just sick last month. And so what I wanted to share with you guys is that there are things that you can do to help yourself when you are feeling overwhelmed. And so I'm just going to share some things that have worked really great for me recently. And they are ways that I try to get out of my head. And for me, the best way to do that is to get as much into my body as possible. And so this is not some like think positive thoughts type of thing. These are like actual things that I do. Okay, so in general, I start by assessing where I'm at. So I can feel overwhelmed by tons of things. Sometimes it's work, sometimes it's just like, oh my gosh, everything is piling on at one time. Or it's that there's something specifically that feels really large for me where I am just almost stuck by the idea of like, oh my goodness, this is something that I have no control over. That's how it feels. And so what I do is I have learned to assess and notice where I'm at. And the main part is to do this from a place of not judging yourself. So when you're feeling like this, the first thing to release and to like let pass through you is the expectation that you should not feel overwhelmed. Trust me, I have found myself in that cycle before of like, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed. Oh my goodness, I can't believe this is overwhelming me, right? And it just goes and goes and goes. So just stop and allow yourself to feel feelings and allow them to pass by. So it's just like, I take a second, and it can be anywhere. Like I can be walking into something. It's just like, it's something I've started to do, and it's something I can do quickly, I guess, since I've been doing it a lot recently, is to, I just take a second and I just allow myself to go through, okay, how am I feeling? Okay, I'm feeling overwhelmed. Why am I feeling overwhelmed? I figure out what that is. And like, what can I do? What actions can I take? So just assess where you are, is the first thing to do. Okay, after that, if you're like, okay, I know what is making me feel overwhelmed, I like have a good grasp of that, and I am not like just like, and I don't feel like I'm spiraling as much, I've got a good grasp of it. The next thing, and this is something that like I love yoga, but sometimes it's just not practical to do yoga. Like at work, I have no space to do yoga, and honestly, our floor is just not, it's gross. So I don't want my hands touching that floor. So what I've done is breathwork. Works really great when you are in that position where you're like, I'm not trying to touch anything, or like, I don't have space to do those type of things. Breathwork. And so the key is overwhelm. It's kind of similar to stress. So in terms of breath work, the key is actually on your exhale. So some people will try like really deep inhales. But if you pay attention to the energy that comes with that, it's not of release. It's kind of like taking in. And when we're feeling overwhelmed, the main thing to do is to actually release that energy, release that stress, release those thoughts. And so a simple way to do this without any type of crazy technique is inhale for 4 breaths or 4 counts, hold, and then exhale for 6 counts. And when you first start to do this, you may be like, I am running out of air. But trust me, do it for a couple different cycles and it helps so much. Just in terms of getting an instant feeling of like, okay, I'm back and I can now like feel grounded and move forward from here. Another thing that works really great is to shake it off. So shaking is actually a trauma response. The style of yoga that I really love to do involves shaking and spiraling, because those are ways of releasing different things can be built up in our body, because most of our emotional responses, they actually have different locations in our body that they tend to show themselves. So sometimes it's like if you are having For example, like lower back pain that can't really be explained, like, oh, I didn't lift anything heavy, I have no reason to feel like this. Sometimes those are signals of things that are like happening on an emotional level that tend to house themselves in our body. And so overwhelm, being a feeling, is another one of those things. So it's really good to shake it out. And it can be like as simple as like you like shaking. I like to shake like my entire body, and I have a technique to do that. So if you guys would like to see what that looks like, I can show you. It will look weird, it will feel weird, but it works, okay? So just like shake it out of your body. And I had a friend recently who was actually talking about this as a trauma response. She specializes in trauma and healing and generational healing. And she was talking about it, and I was like, oh my goodness, that fits so well with like kind of the way that I process things too. Anyways, so yeah, shake it out. Also, the next thing to do that I find super handy is to just brain dump everything. So, that can be starting a list of everything that's making you feel overwhelmed, or everything that you feel like you need to do, right? Because it could be something that's happening, or you could be anticipating something that's making you feel overwhelmed. Either one, just jot everything down and create a next step that is simple. And by simple, I mean something that you can start and complete within 15 minutes. If it's longer than that, sometimes that makes it work, like it feels heavier than what it could be if we just break it down. So those are some things that I've been doing for me, and just an effort to create balance for myself and to get grounded, because I find that when I'm at this level of like stressed, overwhelmed, oh my goodness, all these things are happening, then I really have to find ways to like get back into my body. And these are the best ways that I found, is like, okay, all these thoughts on paper, shake it out, let me breathe it through, let me assess where I'm at. So hopefully these things helped you. And all I can say is that if you're feeling that way and you feel like you cannot share that with people in your life for whatever reason, this group is a safe space. This was one of the main reasons why this group was even created. So you can always feel free to message me if you need someone to just listen, or if you just want to share your thoughts even in the feed. This is totally a space to do that, and I think this is a space that we can empower each other, and just know that we are not alone as we go through just like all the things. So I hope you guys are having the best day, and until next time.